Yeah, dude, this shadow work thing. Watch this. This is how you get into shadow work.
So this isn't. It's not like I wrote this whole thing and came up with the 12 steps. This is AA Bill W. Bill W. was a very big fan of Jung. He used Jungian stuff when he did the 12 steps, when he designed it for people in Alcoholics Anonymous who are powerless over their addiction. And when I was in my late teens, I was in that whole vegan straight edge thing, and I was very involved in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous because I grew up in the 80s in Orange County, California during the cocaine epidemic, and I saw what drugs and alcohol did to people. And so I didn't want to do that. So I kind of went overboard and went completely clean and sober, was active in the 12 step program. I was lucky enough to go to a high school that did group therapy and meditation daily. And they did lots of we did lots of cool stuff and lots of new age stuff. Um, uh, so so I didn't invent this. I just adapted it. Um, just changed the subject a little bit and changed the questions, and just adapted it to what we're going through, not so much what people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol. So this is my little presentation. Um, Nice quote here: until you make your unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that's all these NPCs in the world who think that they can just live life however they want and there's no repercussions and they're not doing harm on anyone because our 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 uh, our futures are already plotted out for us, or some sort of ridiculous idea like that. Um, yeah, so uh, here's the presentation. So the overview, the goal of this is to bring your unconscious negative patterns, shadow, into awareness, take responsibility, and change behavior in real life. This is a practical thing you can do. This isn't. I mean, shadow work can be done at any time. It could be done ahead of time before behaviors creep up. It can happen as behaviors are creeped up. This is just something you can do on the side, and is an exercise that kind of puts you in the frame of mind to go deeper in your shadow work. So the format's going to be a little bit of journaling, lots of reflection, and a witness. It could be a friend, a mentor, a therapist, kind of like a sponsor in AA. Doesn't have to be someone like, doesn't have to be a therapist, but if you have one, that would be great. But a friend would work, or someone, or a group on YouTube if you have a tight, or YouTube on Facebook or somewhere if you have a small group of friends. You guys could all do these exercises, and the practice is ongoing. um, Once you're done with the 12 steps, you kind of just start them over again, and honestly the second time is even better than the first, because you have the hindsight of knowing that the first time you did it, you were full of shit about a couple things, and or just different perspectives later on after doing it. But it's something you're going to go over many, many times and add to, maybe, possibly, hopefully, for the rest of your life. And this will just become something that you kind of do every once in a while to keep yourself in check. Um, and because a lot of people, we're what we're I hate to say it, but after Mark's presentation, I was like, man, there's going to be a bunch of confused people in the chat. And in the days after watching the chat, there's a bunch of confused people. A, because they didn't get to ask him questions. B, because he used it as a marketing tool, which is not something that shadow work is. It's a deep personal thing that you do, that has nothing to do with anyone else's agenda. So yeah, so the ongoing step one: Identify one reoccurring pattern that causes damage: anger, jealousy, addiction to drama, people pleasing, cruelty, apathy, procrastination. That's a big one. I probably should have added in there. You have to, and part of the step is honestly admitting that you have this problem. This is one thing that's a big hurdle for people to get over, is making excuses for themselves and their behavior and justifying it and stuff like that. What's up, guy?
Hey.
Hey. We're just getting into step one. Journal entry would be, what pattern do I keep repeating even though I know it hurts me or others? And the follow-up would be, what does it cost me to keep pretending this isn't a problem? I remember in my, being so caught in bad patterns and knowing I was not getting anything good out of them, and knowing that these patterns were destroying my life, but then just continuing it to do it. So here you're mapping out, what pattern do I keep repeating even though I know it hurts me or others? What does it cost me to keep pretending this isn't a problem? What value does it give you to continue these patterns? Like, what are you getting out of it besides maybe feeling like you were right or something? Believing your own bullshit. Step 2, no excuses here. Admit that willpower alone hasn't fixed your problem. When you can identify a problem you have and you're like, oh, okay, I'll work on that. And then you just ignore it. And you ignore it and ignore it. Then it rears its head up again and fucks your life up again, or fucks up someone's life. And you're like, oh shit, I gotta fix that. I'm gonna fix that. And then you forget. You sweep it under the table. And that you'll go your whole life doing that and leave wreckage and destruction in your wake. Define your higher guidance in the way that works for you: truth, conscience, natural law, inner wisdom, God, whatever you want to say, Mother Nature, the trees, whatever you want to give, whoever you want to, however it works for you, however you think. If you're a God person, you want to call it God, you call it whatever you want, but you need to give yourself to a higher power, because obviously you can't do it yourself, or else you would have already done it. In the journal, step 2 was the title, acknowledge you can't ego your way out of it. So this is a big controlling the ego thing, the second step. Journal, where has trying to control everything made this worse? What might be possible if I let reality teach me instead of defending myself? What traits am I envious of others, and why? So yeah, people have trouble controlling things, which is pretty much everyone. What do you think, Guy?
I
I think Guy has some experience.
have experience in the steps. I think I'll listen through all of them.
All right.
And kind of
I'll just blast through them then.
Yeah.
So so step 2 is acknowledging you can't do it on your own, basically, and admit and finding guidance in a higher power. And it could be so many different things. It doesn't have to be Christianity's God or whatever. Step 3, make a conscious choice to align. Write a short commitment statement I choose to bring this pattern into the light and align my thoughts, emotions, and actions with what I know is right. Something like that. Obviously, this is very robotic and textbook, but finding your own way of doing things is the fun part once you learn the basic structure. Decide one simple daily action that reflects this choice. This is basically like a daily reminder to keep doing shadow work. It could be 10 minutes of honest journaling, a short meditation, or my favorite, I forgot to be, I got the bling. Yee. Or my favorite, a pause before react habit. This is like, I want to like tattoo something on both of my hands faced in to remind me, pause before react. So this is when you're triggered by something, no matter what it is, you stop, you go, whoa, I'm triggered. And you got to have the balls enough to grab yourself and be like, hey, why am I triggered right now? And do a deep dive on what's triggering you, on whether you're being triggered for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. So pause before react. That's a fun one, because that's just like every time you're triggered, that should be the alarm in your head. You got to like work it into your daily life to where whenever you get triggered, you're like, okay, hold on, take three. Remember back in the days, take three big deep breaths when you get triggered, and you'll feel better after. It's because you're calming yourself down a little bit and bringing yourself back down into reality to where you can do that work internally to figure out how to deal with the situation correctly. Because if you're pissed, you're not going to deal with the situation correctly. So you got to rein yourself back in, pause before react, instead of just immediately reacting, which we've all been trained to do our whole lives. It's not easy to break that habit.
I was actually just talking with an addict about that last night.
Oh yeah, controlling your reactions.
Pausing, yeah, he was asked because I was telling him that I don't pray, and he was like, "Well, what do you do when your thoughts start going crazy?" I told him I pause and think it out for a while, and don't make any decisions.
It's one of the. It sounds like such an easy thing to do, but it's so hard to do, and it's such a big step to be able to do that. Because because it's a lot easier just to get mad and waste a bunch of energy and waste a bunch of people's time and whatever, just
Controlling emotions.
yeah. So step 4, do a shadow inventory. These aren't fun. So one thing that the addicts have going for them that we might not necessarily have, or we may have, is hitting a bottom. Hitting a bottom is a very motivational thing if wielded correctly, if dealt with in the right way. And so the way this shadow inventory, basically you're making a written inventory of how this pattern shows up. There are 2 inventories we're doing, and both of these aren't fun. Your thoughts, your core belief, your self-talk, the things you say in your head. So your core beliefs are probably a bunch of shit you've been brainwashed with. And it's a bunch of wrong shit you've been brainwashed with. And so the core beliefs part is the coming to the conclusion that the state is inherently evil, that are, stuff like that. Turning our backs on the 2-party paradigm. Stuff, stupid wives' tales we think are true. And then your emotions, what feelings you avoid or overindulge, feelings you avoid because you don't want to trigger yourself, and also writing down patterns in your behaviors, what you actually do or fail to do. If you procrastinate, if you're a workaholic, Either one of those extremes. We don't like extremes here, people. We like balance. And then in relationships and how they're affected, the reoccurring themes that everyone has in relationships that are negative. You should write a list of those things. And your prompt should be, what am I ashamed of and what I rarely say out loud? Yeah, so you're admitting shit you'd never admit basically out loud, but you're gonna have to. What am I blaming others for? Things I secretly contribute to. Oh, okay. Where am I blaming others for things I secretly contribute to? We all do this a lot. What do I accuse others of that I might be doing in subtler ways? We all do this a lot. Are you critiquing someone especially hard because that's something you do also? We do that a lot. Step 5. Share it with a trusted witness. Choose one safe, at least one grounded person or therapist, coach, close friend, and read your inventory to them. Be honest. Don't leave anything out. Resist the urge to justify. Do not fucking make excuses. In your journal, you would write, what was the hardest thing to tell this person? Or what was the hardest thing I had to admit to this person? What did I feel in my body as I shared? Did you feel icky? Or did you feel really good? What did I hear that challenged my self-image? Did you hear something that you've buried for decades or buried deep away that you've ignored forever? And is that affecting how you look at yourself? Step 6, identify the payoffs and be willing to let them go. Every shadow pattern has a payoff. Attention, power, safety, comfort, avoiding responsibility. So we get in these negative patterns because we get something out of them a little bit. It can be hard to see what we get most of the time, but it could be also very obviously what we get. So make a list of payoffs. List the payoffs of keeping the pattern. So the things you get, whether I can't really call them good because they're probably not good, but the payoffs is the right word for it. What payoff do you get by staying in your shadow patterns? Then in the journal, what fake benefits do I get from this behavior? What am I afraid would happen if I stopped? Then write, I am willing to live without these payoffs, even if it's uncomfortable. And then work on that internally. You're getting some bullshit, something that's probably not, something that's obviously not good for you and other people. You're getting out of being a little shit. So list all these things. And this list, you're gonna make these lists for the rest of your life. You're gonna keep adding to these lists, because this isn't something that's done ever. Shadow work is ongoing. Shadow work exercises like this are ongoing. So step 7, practice humility and ask for help. Create a story, humility practice, a simple prayer, intention. Show me where I'm still blind and help me correct it. This is the asking your higher power for help, basically.
We'll need. There's some other people.
Or a daily question to a trusted person. Did you notice this pattern in me today? That's like if you go through your day and you feel like a negative pattern rearing its head, and you have the balls enough to mention that to your partner, most likely, and be all, hey, did you notice I was being kind of, whatever, or did you notice I was doing this? You're basically calling yourself out, and you're calling yourself out to someone who you care about, in a good way, in a positive, healthy way.
Pattern recognition, huh?
Yeah. So in the journal, where do I still think I'm above criticism? Ooh, tough one. What feedback have I ignored because it hurt my ego? So we all think we're the shit, and we aren't. We're all still pieces of shit still. We're all still scum. We all still aren't ready to handle freedom if we were actually handed it. We are all just as bad as the politicians we complain about. If we were giving power, we would probably become corrupted pretty quickly. Most people. So we need to stop blowing smoke up each other's asses and our own asses about how great we are. That's humility. Step 8. Map your harm. This is a tough one. This is the toughest one, huh, guy? This is the one.
Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah. Well, I suppose so.
Well,
This would be a tough. This is yeah. So make a list. People you've hurt. Ways you've harmed yourself. Wait. People you've hurt. Ways you've harmed yourself. Ways your pattern have contributed to harm in the wider world, in your community, to animals, the environment, culture, society. This is a tough one. For each note, what I did, how and didn't, or what I did or didn't do, how it may have impacted this person. This, I mean, for most people, I'd be surprised if people were all, oh yeah, step 8's easy. Like you'd it's a lot. You've been alive a long time. Most people, I don't know. I've met a lot of people in my life. So step 8, map the harm. Step 9, design real world amends. For each person situation on your list, decide to give them direct amends, which is apologizing, which is changed behavior, but it can be a gesture of, hey, I'm going to change things. Direct amends are a conversation, apology, or concrete act if it will not cause harm to the person you're giving amends to. That is a rare, very important part of making amends. Some people may not want you in their lives again, and they don't want to rehash shit from the past. And you leaving them alone is more amends than selfishly. I mean, selfish in a way of you're doing your steps, and you're just like, I need to do my steps, so I'm gonna apologize to everyone and just go apologize to anyone and not think about it. You might be causing more harm to these people, bringing this shit up again. So you have to decide whether it's direct or indirect. Indirect amends, changing behavior going forward when direct content isn't possible or wise. So if it's not smart to hit someone up and apologize for some shit that happened 15 years ago, just change the behavior. Make sure you fix that. You've changed the behavior looking forward. Also, design behavioral amends. When this trigger happens, instead of X, I will do X. Just simply mapping out your new behavior when you get triggered, like we were kind of talking about earlier. This is a big part of all this stuff, is controlling yourself and making the right moves when it's the toughest time to do that. Being a ninja when you're in the middle of the shit, and being able to guide your way through it and everyone's way through it to end up in a positive instead of a negative. In your journal, you'll say, what would repair look like in action, not just in words? Where do I want to make amends just to clear my guilt versus truly serve the other person? That's where I'm getting back to what I mentioned earlier. You can't just barrel through it because you're doing your steps, and you got to make amends to everyone. You got to make sure you're not, that it would be a healthy situation. Step 10. Daily self-review. This is the daily reminder. This is the tattoo on your hand pointed at you that you see every day that reminds you to do to keep on your ass about doing these little exercises. Create a short nightly check-in, 5 to 10 minutes. Where did my shadow show up today? This can be fun. Where did the shadow show up today? Where was I a little shit today? Where did I let myself get carried away today? Where was I not controlling myself today? These are all fun things to review in your head. Super fun. Where did I catch it and choose differently? So you're
understand what the other person said.
Yeah. So the first one, you're saying when you're narking yourself out. The second one is where you're patting yourself on the back. Who do I mean to talk to tomorrow to clear something up? This is if you did something today that wasn't right that you need to fix before it becomes a resentment or something like that in someone else, or causes a bunch of garbage down the line. Keep a simple tracking log, date plus 3 bullet points, those 3 bullet points. So keep a little journal and fill it out every day. And I wanted to go back what I was talking about hitting bottom. Addicts being addicts and overdosing and stuff like that is hitting bottom. Our bottom, while we have possibly, many of us have hit bottoms, the inventory, the harm inventory is kind of a bottom. It's an artificial bottom, but it's very much a wake-up call, because after a while, if you're being honest, it should scare the shit out of you. Your harm inventory and your bad behavior inventory, after a while of doing them for a long time, it should scare you. And if you think you were a great person, after you're honestly doing your inventories for a while, you might be like, okay, so I need to fix some stuff, because I've blown smoke up my ass for a long time thinking I'm this great person, but historically I haven't been. So yeah, the bottom thing, the inventories can very, more often than not, are not very fun and very wide eye-opening, and can be very motivational. Step 11, 2 more left. Build a connection practice. Choose one regular practice to stay connected to your inner world, whether it's meditation, breath work, mirror work, TM, going, if you're athletic at all, or if you're not athletic, getting into cycling or something like cycling's really good, because we'll go out all day and you could be with someone, but you're on your bike when you're out 8-9 hours riding 100 miles, you go into deep meditation. And you go
Walking,
into
man.
what's
Just
that?
walking. Just walking,
Yeah.
like a long walk.
Yeah, even a super long walk, it's quite easy to meditate when you're by yourself, or long drives or anything like that. That's when I come up with the best ideas for stuff. Anyway, Build a connection practice, meditation, breath work, any number of things. Dialogue these parts to yourself: inner child, protector, critic. So you're basically going to be talking to yourself in your head and dealing with whatever part of yourself is rearing its head. Somatic check-ins: where does this feel like in my body? How is this making my stomach hurt? Like, is it making this feeling in my chest? Is it causing my heart to pound? Am I getting a headache? Is it stressing me out? Is it raising my anxiety? Prompts will be: what is this feeling trying to protect me from? Is this shadow could speak? What would it say it needs? Ask your shadow, what do you need, man? What's going on? Like, what's missing? So many people suppress so much stuff. We are such a suppressed species, and we do a lot of the suppressing to ourselves. And your shadow might be missing out on a bunch of like, it might be missing out on a bunch of stuff that you've never thought you needed. So yeah. What is this feeling trying to protect me from? If you're having an emotion, if you're having a physical reaction to something, it's your adrenals popping off. It's you're supposed to be, it's something you use when you get chased by a lion. It's a fight or flight. That's usually what's happening if you get these physical reactions. And it's your body telling you something, and it's your mind telling you something. Step 12: share, serve, and integrate. So this is obviously at the end, because it's what you're supposed to do after you do all the stuff in the beginning, which is the internal stuff. Find one way to serve others from what you've learned. Share your journey with a friend, support group, or audience. This is all leading by example. This is being the example you want the world to be. This is and it's gay kind of new age shit, but paying it forward. This is like showing someone you care in a world of people that don't care. Offer listening support to someone facing a similar pattern. If you see someone who's fucking hurting, talk to them. A lot of the time, that's all someone needs, is a little attention. Define your new identity in one paragraph. I am someone who used to do this. Now I choose this, even when it's hard, because I stand for this. This is a good, I don't want to call it affirmation, but I guess it is. You're just making it clear to yourself that the old behavior needs to go and is gone. And we stand for a lot in this community, so it's very motivating to change for the correct, because we have the responsibility of spreading natural law. Plan a symbolic action that marks the transition. Some sort of ritual, letter you don't send to yourself, deleting contacts of people, toxic people that take you into a realm you don't want to be in, as far as bad influences. Sharing a new project or starting a new projects, keeping yourself busy, doing shit you want to do, whether it's fucking messing with cars or doing YouTube videos or going out on the street doing vegan activism, making sure you have stuff you're doing, having a purpose. Purposes are super important in relationships. Having the relationship not be the purpose of the relationship is very important. Having another purpose that is bigger than that is super important. And we'll be getting more into that next episode, which is episode 69.
Nice.
which will be the sex and relationship episode. And it's going to be a doozy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So so those are the 12 steps that I kind of just slapped together. Just a practical exercise you can do to keep yourself thinking about, keep yourself still while the world spins. The end.